from that earlier 377 elapsed time is you've seen the fire out the scoop. They slow up.
Our next pair completing the burnout process, Freddie Scriba here on the right-hand side of the racetrack out of Millersville, Maryland. The Scriba Welding 69 Camaro won a 375.4 earlier. And Mike Achenbach on the left-hand side of the racetrack out of Wind Gap, Pennsylvania. The Deep Purple 2.0, new machine for him. 69 Camaro, MJA Installations, Canvas Plus, Fulton Race Engines, Schweitzer Dynamics on board that machine, backing up on the left side.
Freddie Scriba's car not going into reverse. It's setting out there the middle of the racetrack, and you see the crew start to run, trying to get to their driver. We'll see if Scriba is going to be able to make the call and get it back to the starting line. Mike Achenbach, Brandon Schweitzer in his corner. Sure, they're going to try and lay down a lap with that new race car. You see the PDRA team and Freddie Scriba's crew, they are pushing the Scriba Welding. Sorcerer Motorsports entry back, and need some more people out there to get the thing going. And man, what a tough break for Freddie Scriba.
And that car to date has been flawless.
Yeah.
I mean,
every time it's came to the starting line, it nearly went down the racetrack and laid down a good number. And normally, in these types of situations, it's some kind of small mechanical issue that costs them the run. So all eyes will be on Mike Achenbach here on this competition single. Good run for Achenbach. How about 369.3, 204 miles an hour. Talked about laying down a run, and Mike Achenbach did just that on the Summit side. 3.693, and right now Mike Achenbach will take over the #1 qualifying spot. Just how long it'll hold? Well, we're about to find out, because you got two guys getting ready to get after it here.
Tommy Franklin and Jim Halsey, our final two cars to take time here in Q3. Franklin on the left-hand side of the racetrack, the Jungle Rat 69 Camaro out of Fredericksburg, Virginia. Franklin Electric, SmartCom Home Technologies, Redline Oil, Hoosier Tire, Pat Musey Horsepower. Under the hood scoop for Tommy Franklin, a short burnout. And Jim Halsey on the right-hand side.
And I'm wondering if Tommy Franklin's car shut off in the burnout.
He just refired that machine there, left side. Halsey out of Havre de Grace, Maryland for Cecil County Dragway. Schweitzer Dynamics, Yellow Bullet Nationals, and Purnell Body Shop. The Fulton Power Plant underneath the hood scoop. He's your #2 qualifier with the 370 with the 2. Franklin's been bumped back all the way into the 7 spot with that earlier 373.7.
Even with Tommy's short burnout there with the car, shutting off abruptly, I don't think it's going to really affect the run. He was able to clean the tires off enough and get the car refired back to the starting line. So 369.3, the elapsed time that these two drivers are trying to go after. Run quicker than to be your #1 qualifier going into race day tomorrow. And we have seen monster runs out of both Tommy and Jim, time and time again. So the top bulb comes on first for Halsey. Final pair here in Q3 of Schweitzer Dynamics Pro Nitrous tonight. 365 Norwalk, Ohio, 207 miles an hour. Jim Halsey lays down a monster lap, 369.8, 204 the speed for Tommy, and he's going to get to number 3, but Jim Halsey will start race day tomorrow from the number 1 spot for, I don't know, about, can't even count, number of time that Jim Halsey has been your number 1 qualifier.
So now we're going to make the move over to WS Construction Pro Boost, presented by P2 Contracting and Hyde Drive. First 2 machines that'll hit the racetrack are not qualified. Mike DiDomenico here on the right-hand side at Charge and Falls, Ohio, the CNC Performance Products. 2019 Corvette, X1 Connecting Rods, Motorsports Unlimited, Liberty's Gears, and YO Motorsports. Chuck Walsh, left side of the racetrack, and he's not in unfamiliar territory. He's been in this position before where he's had to qualify on the last qualifying pass.
With 1 door.
Yeah, with 1 door. Churchview Farms, Red Lion Oil, NGK Spark Plugs, and YO Motorsports on board the Walsh machine.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you, we just seen Pro Nitrous. That was a case in final qualifying that where they're just shuffling for position. Everybody was in the show. This is very crucial here in Pro Boost. We take 16 cars and 22 drivers are trying to qualify.
As they say, it all comes down to this. Final round of qualifying. WS Construction Pro Boost, presented by P2 Contracting and Hyde Drive. Chuck Walsh, Mike DiDomenico, our first pair to try to work their way into this field.
So the number on the scoreboard, that's what you're trying to go quicker than. Walsh, left side. Final one to stage. Hold on, Chuck Walsh right alongside the wall. Summit side, 372, 197 miles an hour to the 371.6, 206 the speed for Mike DiDomenico. Chuck Walsh drove that thing to almost the point of no return and gets to the number 16 qualifying spot. DiDomenico goes to number 12, but man, that was a wild, wild ride for Chuck Walsh, literally inches off the wall.
Chuck Walsh proves again you never want to back him in the corner. He doesn't care if he's got both doors, if he's up against the wall, he is going down the racetrack.
Chuck Walsh has made a seal, let me tell you there. Wow, that was a man's driving job.
So next up, Jay Santos on the left-hand side of the racetrack, the 69 Camaro for Noonan Race Engineering. And Spencer Hyde here on the right-hand side, Jack in the green stock 69 Camaro for Red Lion Oil, NGK, Hyde Construction, Noonan Race Engineering, and Hellbilly Race Cars. Spencer Hyde here on the right side was our race winner at our last event. He is currently not in the program, number 21. You see the number on the scoreboard, 372. With a 4, he's got to go quicker than. That car lived in the 350 zone at Virginia Motorsports Park. Now, currently, not even qualified.
I have a feeling here in this final session, Spencer Hyde's going to get a really good handle on that racetrack out there. The Canadian, our neighbors to the north, Spencer Hyde, a make-or-break moment for Jack in the green stock Chevrolet. The 32-year-old general contractor, your points leader, as Scotty Gore has talked about. This one is the pair to watch, folks. Jay Santos and the team are going to bring that beautiful 69 bow tie Camaro to the starting line alongside in the Summit lane. The number on the scoreboard is now lowered to 372. Chuck Walsh holds that number. Spencer Hyde's on a run. 365, 203 down the Ohio Cat side for Spencer Hyde, and he's in the show to the race day. 372.08 the speed for Jay Santos. He'll go to number 12. Hyde to number 2. Wow.
And if you watch down at the top end, there was pieces and parts flying off that thing as the motor expired as he went through the traps, but just like Chuck Walsh, he wasn't going to quit.
Yeah, popped the burst panel, I believe, there for Spencer, but man, oh man. Took a swing at the number 1 qualifying spot, a guy that was outside looking in from number 22 to number 2. What a run for the team going down the return row, the Jack and the Green stock. The team in the green going to be in race day tomorrow from the number 2 spot for right now.
And we were getting ready to start an unsettling coincidence because Todd Tutterow came out the season opener and won, then DNQ'd at Virginia. Spencer won race 2 and wasn't in until just now. So nobody was going to want to win a Pro Boost here at a PDRA event because they were afraid of not qualifying at the next event. But look at that.
Let's not forget Jay Santos there. I mean, that run, 370 with a 7 to get him to number 12 was a good run as well. Hats off to that team. You know how hard they worked for it. And now it puts Kenny Lang, who has not ran yet. He's going to be on the bump spot, 372.0 by 0.004 of a second. We have lowered the bump here in Pro Boost. So let's...
And not just that, Derek. Our next 2 that are getting ready to come up, Scott Lang and James Beedling. Scott Lang was a 2-time back-to-back winner last season on the PDRA Tour. He DNQ'd at Virginia, and he's in a position here where he's going to have to lay a number down to get into the program this weekend.
This season has been a little bit of a struggle and unfamiliar,
say,
uncharted territory for Scott Lang. But I love James Beedling and the team. They have proven so many times that they can just come out and lay down a stellar run. We've seen big upsets out of James Beedling before, and a guy that knows how to fight from the bottom and work his way in. So we'll probably see some big things in this next pair coming up. But let's look at our drivers, I should say, that are outside looking in. You've got Chuck Alstad's already ran. Beedling and Lang's up next. Albright has not ran yet. And Scott Wildgust is another one of those guys that are still waiting their turn.
Yeah, Joe Winsley as well. So,
right.
A few more cars left to go. I got a feeling we might have an all-60s field here.
Very, very possible, I would say. And you look down, you know, Kenny Lang hasn't ran, and he's capable of going faster than what he's been 372. Melanie Salemi debuted a new car, so they're trying to get some data. And that team, you know they've got the horsepower to climb to the top. D. Domenico's already been down. Dave Tuxedo, he laid down a stellar run in Q2 to be number 13 right now at 371.2. So a little shuffling around for position as we are finishing up there on the racetrack. It should be a interesting final session here in WS Construction Pro Boost tonight.
So engines come to life. Scott Lang and James Beedling. Beedling will be on the right-hand side of the racetrack at Olmsted Falls, Ohio. The Kelling Equipment, Motorsports Unlimited, J. Ross Express, 2020 Camaro. And Scott Lang, left-hand side out of Charlotte, North Carolina, the Equalizer 2018 Camaro for AML Motorsports. Pro Line, Pro Charger, Fuel Tech, Carmack, M&M, and KA13.
So if memory serves me right, James Beedling, this is his first time on tour here this season at the PDRA National event. Good to have him in the house. And I'll touch on this. You know, Scott Lang, and you mentioned KA13 and Keenan Allen in the NFL. What I love is the fact that we have, you know, NFL players involved in the world's quickest and fastest 8-mile drag racing series. Of course, Fletcher Cox has his own team. He just recently retired from the Philadelphia Eagles. And then Keenan Allen on board with Scott Lang.
Right now, the task at hand is to get into this super fast field. And Scott Lang up for the challenge left side. James Beedling wanted to accomplish the same thing here on the right-hand side. Final adjustments being made as they pull to the top bulb.
So 3:71.9 or faster to get you in the show. This pair is set. Oh, Lang's going to do some driving. The car gets all over the racetrack. 373.5, 212 miles an hour to the 373.0, 206.99. And ladies and gentlemen, Scott Lang and James Beadling are not going to qualify here in Norwalk this weekend. That is a huge break to two very good teams that are so capable of being there on race day. Just came up 100th of a second short.
So as Derek and I were talking, another pair coming up next, trying to fight their way into this ultra-fast field. Joe Albright, right-hand side of the racetrack, out of West Babylon, New York. The Fletcher Cox Racing 69 Camaro for Shady Trail Ranch. LET Racing Oils, DeSoma Race Engines, Marchetti Trucking, and PTP Racing. And a little drama out there. Joe Winsley, his black Camaro on the left side of the racetrack is not backing up. Joe out of Brooklyn, Michigan for Liberty's Gears, Mincer Motorsports, VP Racing, and PTP Racing.
See Patrick Barnhill there at the driver's door talking to Joel Winsley. I'm not sure. Oh, it looks like there's potentially some fluid that leaked out of the Liberty Gears Camaro on the left side. So I'm wondering if they are done here in Q3. And they continue to just push the car back, and I think they're going to go right off the racing surface with it. A tough break for the team out of Brooklyn, Michigan. But all eyes now turn to your driver, the Ohio Cat Lane. He calls West Babylon, New York home. Joe Albright driving for Fletcher Cox and Cox Racing. That's the gentleman you see. Driving that 69 Camaro into the beams. Albright's car was looking strong up until 330 feet, and then here to go silent. 4:16 at 137 is not going to put Joe Albright in the show here this weekend. Joel Winsley, unfortunately, had mechanical issues, was not able to make the run as well, so they will be number 20 and 22. Do just a quick drag of the tractor out of the racing surface. All right, so Norwalk, Ohio, the guy that you see down there in the water box, left-hand side, the Smokies Garage Camaro, is going to try to make this last-ditch effort to be here on race day.
And how ironic is it? The guy he's trying to knock out of the program's in the lane right next to him. So Kenny Lang and Scott Wilgus trying to shake things up here.
He is the final driver that is outside looking in. Scott Wilgus there on the left side.
Wilgus out of Sebringville, Ontario, Canada, driving the Smokies Garage 2020 Camaro. And Kenny Lang here on the right-hand side. The Al Billis Racing 69 Camaro for NGK Spark Plugs, VP Race Fuels, and Miller Welders. What a matchup this is going to be.
This is huge. You got to lay it on the line. You got to throw the kitchen sink at it and see where cards lay. As Wildguess and Smokies Garage, they are one of the presenting sponsors here this weekend in conjunction with Callie's here at the American Doorslammer Challenge. They want that Chevy Camaro in the field tomorrow for final eliminations. Two Canadians are head-to-head right here. For Al Billis Racing, Kenny Lang, what a duo you see on the Ohio Cat Lane.
Wildgus needs to pick up 3 thousandths, a little bit more, like would say 4 thousandths, get them in the show.
But you never know.
Yeah,
what
but Kenny
Lang's going to lay down.
Who knows, right?
And that's the thing is, wow. Both lanes, I would say, very equal. We've seen good elapsed times all throughout his final session of qualifying. The sun's off the racetrack, and it's showtime. You got to dig deep and hope you got enough. If you are Scott Wildgus trying to fight your way in, Kenny Lang just trying to hold off the guy on the summit side. It's all about the number on the scoreboard. 367.7, 205 miles an hour, and Scott Wildgus in the Smokies Garage Chevrolet will be at race day tomorrow from the number 5 spot. Melanie Salemi is number 16 at 371.6. The field is officially set. We're going to shuffle for position at this point in time. You've seen Kenny Lang, Chevy Camaro, have issues about half track, and he faded away. And just watch the scoreboard light up there for Team Smokies Garage.
Dave Tuxedo, left-hand side of the racetrack, the out-of-control 68 Firebird. Currently your number 14th qualifier to 371.2. And Melanie Salemi debuting that new hot rod out here this weekend, the 68 Firebird out of G-Force Race Cars. Alley Installation, Liberty's Gears, Quick Drive, Ross Pistons, NGK, and MSR. On board that beautiful machine backing up here right side of the racetrack out of Resolution Racing Services. And Melanie is not somebody, if she ends up being number 16, not somebody the number 1 qualifier is going to want to look over and see.
No, not at all. And you got to remember that the data that they have on this race car, they came in this weekend here to Norwalk, and I believe this was the first pass that the car has been down a racetrack since being built. So they came in on Thursday, did some testing, and you got a couple qualifying runs today. That's all the data they got. But again, you look at Melanie and you know, her husband and their crew. That's a top tier team. There is no doubt about it. And they've got the knowledge and the resources to be moving up right here. See 2 cars potentially go into the 60s side by side. It's an all Pontiac Firebird battle in the class that is so dominated by first-gen Camaros. We see GM Pontiac action here. Melody's got the front end height to the air. How about 366, 207 miles an hour for the lady out of New York. Melanie Salemi lays down a run. Dave Tuxedo, 367, 206.45 on the summit side. And 2 drivers that were the bottom half of the field are number 3 and 4 here in qualifying.
And looking down there, the crew's all high-fiving. And Derek, did you watch that pass? Her front end was hiked up past the 330 cone. Probably 3/4 track.
Absolutely. One of the best runs that I've seen Melanie Salemi make there. Absolutely beautiful. The car was stuck. It was riding hard on the wheelie bar, and most importantly, it was riding straight.
Absolutely.
And that
flat
was huge.
nasty, like you like to say. But man, what a shot. Todd Tutterow, Marcus Burt up next. Tutterow left side of the racetrack out of Yadkinville, North Carolina. King Tut in the 69 Camaro owned by Justin Smith. Quick fuel, tie drive, YO Motorsports, Extreme Oil, and NGK spark plugs on your number 12 qualified machine out of 368.5. Marcus Burt here on the right-hand side out of Gray, Georgia, the Axeman. Behind the wheel, the 2024 Camaro owned by Tommy Yeomans. Proline, Pro Charger, Fuel Tech, M&M, and Hoosier Tire. And we've talked a lot of stories about people who win, don't qualify, then come out, qualify. Marcus Burt brought that machine out to VMP at our last stop on tour, and they did not qualify.
And that
they went home, tested, did their homework, and here they are sitting in the number 14 spot out of 370.
Yeah, they got a good, consistent race car. 71.6, 70 flat. And now we have seen so many teams go into the 60s. I'm sure Burt is going to do the same. Todd Tutterow, the true legend over there, summit side. getting ready to turn that 69 Chevrolet Camaro loose.
Sun pretty much off the racetrack, at least from the direct sunlight, so the track temps have cooled, and we've seen major performance pickups by a lot of our drivers.
And now it just gets to blind us here in the announcer's booth. I love it.
But man, this is an exciting round of qualifying.
And when there's a bump and cars are trying to get in, final qualifying just hits a little bit different. They're set, lights are down. Oh, great side-by-side drag race, 362, 208 miles an hour. How about that, Norwalk, Ohio? Todd Tutterow lays down a #1 qualifying run right there. Bird 365.6, 208 the speed alongside of him to #3, but Todd Tutterow takes over the top spot here in Pro Boost tonight at America's Racetrack.
So number 13 and 14 come up to the starting line, proceed through their burnout process. Randy Weatherford, left side of the racetrack out of Danville, Virginia. The WS Construction 2020 Camaro. ProLine, ProCharger, Fuel Tech, and M&M transmissions on board his machine. And Travis Harvey, the Carolina kid, here on the right-hand side out of Burlington, North Carolina, in his 2017 Camaro for Miles Truck Service, ProLine, Fuel Tech, and Holland Enterprises. Harvey, a 368.9 earlier. Randy Weatherford, a 368.2. Derek, how low can they go?
Well, and when we're talking about, are we going to see an all-60s field? Mike DiDomenico's already ran, so 71.6. He's on the bump. Jake Santos has already been down.
So 2 cars not in the 60s.
And yeah, we missed it by, 17 thousandths of a second to be an all-60s field here in Pro Boost. But and that's what I love, just seeing, the weather conditions being optimal right now, getting the sun off the racetrack, cooler temperatures are prevailing, and cars are just making flawless runs. That's what it's all about here in final qualifying tonight. Putting on a great show for the fans here at Summit Motorsports Park, here at the American Doorslammer Challenge. Weatherford in the beams left side. Harvey rolls in right side. He's set to go. Lights are down. Hold on. Oh, problems, and Harvey's out of power, and 365, the number on the scoreboard for Randy Weatherford. Team WS Construction at 204 miles an hour. They make their best run of the weekend by 0.03 of a second, and from number 13, Randy Weatherford goes to number 5.
Preston Tanner side by side here in Q3. Preston Tanner on the right-hand side of the racetrack out of Rensselaer, Indiana, the Sweetheart 2015 Corvette for the 24-year-old truck driver. Talbot Manufacturing, A.J. Winton, Son Strange Engineering, Manhattan Collision, G-Force, YO, and Jeff Pierce tuning this machine right side. Steve King, left side of the racetrack, the Savage 22 Corvette owned by Gene Pilot. Jeff Miller Performance, Resolution Racing Service, G-Force Race Cars, MSR Performance, and Pilot Electric on board Steve King's machine. Steve just picking up a $50,000 payday up at Jim Halsey's racetrack in Cecil County, and also has Melanie Salemi as a teammate. We just saw Melanie make a blast with the wheels up. So can Steve King move up the ladder here, currently in the number 13 spot with a 368.1. Preston Tanner, number 12, with a 367.9.
Preston Tanner jumped behind the wheel of these Pro Mod machines when he was near 20 years old. A great kid and has came so far. A great driver now. He served our country in the armed forces, and big things to come. Out of the car, you see the Ohio Cat Lane. Chad Crawford out there in front of him. Crew members celebrating a birthday. We talked about that earlier. But right now, all eyes on these 2 Chevrolet Corvettes as they get ready to lay down, hopefully, stellar runs in the final qualifying tonight. Wheels in the air, they drive them around a little bit. Top of the race. racetrack, 364. Quick relapse time for Steve King on the left-hand side, 205 miles an hour, 366 with an 8 there for Preston. Steve King goes to number 2 right there. Preston is going to be number 8. Both drivers and teams make their best runs of the weekend here tonight in final qualifying. Good run on to Steve King.
Liberty's Gears Extreme Pro Stock, we need you. Liberty's Gears Extreme Pro Stock, we need you if you're not already in the staging lanes. So, yeah, I mean, how come every time a car comes up, we're like, this is huge, this is big, you know? But every one of these matchups is monstrous.
And if you're sitting down there, you're probably listening to the announcers like, yeah, we get it, every run's big. I mean, but it just gets better and better.
It does. Here comes Jason Harris on the right-hand side of the racetrack. Your defending world champion out of Pittsboro, North Carolina, the Party Time 69 Camaro for Southern Diamond SP Tools. Hoosier Tire, Pro Charger, Pro Line, Braille Batteries, and LAT Racing Oils. He's your number 10 qualifier at a 367.4. But wait, there's more. Derek Ward, left side of the racetrack out of Friendship, Maryland, a 68 Firebird out of Resolution Racing Services, G-Force Race Cars, and MSR Performance. This is your world record holder in the category on the left side of the racetrack, and he's all the way back in the 13th qualified position.
You know, qualifying points count. They're very crucial, and they can, you know, make or break a world championship. So Derek Ward knows that he's got to move up here for race day tomorrow. Get a few more qualifying points. Jason Harris, he's in the same boat as well. And you look at the point standings coming in here this weekend. Derek Ward trails Spencer Hyde, who is your points leader. And Jason Harris sits down at number 5 right now. You see Bob out there in front guiding his son into the beams.
John and Jim Salemi standing out behind Derek Ward's machine.
And I know you've mentioned this before, but I love the story. Derek Ward services this car, works on this car out of a 2-car garage in Friendship, Maryland.
Yeah.
Not a huge racing operation, but the kid has done fabulous this year and has got the car to beat. Ward's on a run. Watch the summit side scoreboard. 363.5, 208.59 miles an hour for Derek Ward. 379, 192 there for Jason. And Derek Ward goes to number 2 behind Todd Tutterow, and that just shows how strong Tutterow's run was if going 362.7. Very strong lap out of King Tut. But wait, there's more. I believe our final pair
It is.
Is here
Here
in the water
comes
box.
Johnny Camp, who led qualifying all the way up until this session. Now finds himself back in the 4th qualified position, but we'll see if Johnny Camp has anything for that 362.7 that Todd Tutterow laid down. Camp here on the right side of the racetrack out of Cannonsburg, Pennsylvania. The Hells Bells 69 Camaro for NGK Spark Plugs, Tatman Electric Company, Camp Brothers Concrete, Pro Line, Pro Charger, and Fuel Tech. And Kurt Stedding, left side of the racetrack out of Carnegie, Pennsylvania. The P2 Contracting, P2 Racing 69 Camaro. And Ohio Motorsports, Ty Drive, NGK, and Robert Abbott Oranges. Johnny Camp, like I said, led qualifying up until this session with a 364.9. 362 is now the number he needs to eclipse to go back to the number 1 spot. Stedding's best so far, a 367.4.
And Kurt Stedding, more than capable of running 62.7 or faster.
So the 67.4 of Stedding, only good enough for 12th qualified position.
Bottom half of the field for one of the best teams down here in P2 Contracting. Kurt Stedding there on the left side. Final pair here in final round of qualifying tonight in WS Construction Pro Booth. Presented by P2 Contracting and Ty Drive. So here we go. Is someone going to start race day from number 1 tomorrow? Is their name going to be Kurt Setting or Johnny Camp? We're going to find out. Got to run quicker than Tutterow's 362.7 and over 208 miles an hour in order to do so. Drag race 362.9, 206 the speed for Johnny, 364.2, 206.39 for Kurt Setting, and by 2 thousandths of a second, Tutterow will remain your number 1 qualifier here in Norwalk this weekend. Tutterow, Camp, Ward, Stedding, King, Burt, Hyde, and Weatherford, your top 8 in Pro Boost. As we go into a little bit of track prep, Mike DiDomenico, he made the show's your number 16 qualifier. A very stout field on a hot weekend here in Norwalk. Well, we got a minute of downtime. Let's look at the matchups in round number 1 tomorrow. Final eliminations in Schweitzer Dynamics Pro Nitrous. Jim Halsey, a multi-time world champ, number 1 qualifier, starts race day tomorrow with a bye run in the round 1 of eliminations. And really what I'm looking at is the bottom half of the ladder. I'll get there in a minute, but Chris Reaney, Team ATI, will take on Billy Albert. Of course, Billy, we got Ricky Smith in his corner. That's going to be, I think, a good matchup. You look at qualifying at just 0.02 of a second separated those drivers. You got Franklin and Widener. We've seen Jim Widener make some upsets happen before, so you can't count him out. Marcus Sputner with Jay Cox. John Vergotts, they're going to go head-to-head as number 4 and 9. And Vergotts stepped up, going 376 there. So then you look at Mike Achenbach, a brand new race car. He qualified number 2. He's got Brandon Schweitzer helping him out. Jackie Salone, they struggled a bit throughout qualifying, and they're no slouch at all. We've seen win lights out of the Salone camp.
Down here at the Jerry Bickle top end zone. I love being down here for Q3. There's a lot of excitement. You were already on top, but I believe, sir, you just put an exclamation point behind that 65.
Yeah, we've been fighting this thing for a while now. It's the new car, and I think we're finally starting to get our act together. So hopefully we can go some rounds tomorrow and keep our points lead.
Do you guys have this kind of I know you and Tommy are great competitors, but this little banter, is number 1 qualifier something that you guys hold as bragging rights?
It is. I mean, we have to. Why wouldn't we, And
you get a little check tomorrow, or I should say a big check, but a little check.
Little check's fine with me.
All right, well, good luck.
Thank you.
So final round of qualifying here for our Mentor Motorsports Pro Street Cars presented by AFCO Racing.
Spencer Hyde down here at the Jerry Bickle top end zone. That was a little bit of a whirlwind of emotion. You see the scoreboard. 65 got in for number 2 for now, but got some carnage.
Well, actually, I couldn't see the scoreboard because this was up like this. We'll take the run. Got us qualified, but we got to go back. We got some work to do here, so see what we can do for tomorrow.
I want to give a specific little shout out to a replay that we just saw on FloRacing of your cousin there, Quinn, losing a shoe. What do you got to say about that?
He's a little bit special. He loses everything, so it doesn't surprise me.
Well, good job. We knew you and Mark would get it done.
Thank you.
Inside out of Brighton, Michigan, the Mustang from Mentor Motorsports, Noonan Race Engineering, Fuel Tech, M&M, PSI, SSI. He's been to 2 semifinals this season and is currently sitting at number 14 on the qualified list. 861. He has struggled here. The track conditions way different than they have been in all the other qualifying sessions. So we'll see if Dan Norris can get it together and go A to B on this trip.
Looks like it's in the Professional Bull Riders Association. It was bouncing around out there, 535 at 129 miles an hour. Dan Norris at 412, and that was a monster run for Norris going up to number 2. And Scotty, if you followed it, what he's talked about this weekend, Norris's car has been in the finals back-to-back, semifinals back-to-back races, so a force to be reckoned with, and he climbs up the leaderboard to number 2 for now.
I haven't been graced with royalty this weekend yet. King Tut just went in. I know you guys always make consistent runs, but I know you're not pleased until you're sitting on that throne on the top, and you just did it with a 62.
Yeah, I'm very pleased. I look out for Kurt now. I think he's going to go better than I did. We was in, so I knew I could go in and do some stuff, so I made some last-minute changes and worked out.
The difference in this session from the rest of the day, everybody was struggling. Everybody was hot racetrack, sticky racetrack, all of this, but I mean, I know you guys were just gnawing at the bit whenever the sun started to go down and it started to cool down.
It is, and I mean, sun ain't been fair on this racetrack all weekend. It's been bad all weekend, so that's the time to do it. We're going to do it.
Listen, by the time you watch this, I don't know where he'll be, but I know King Tut's going to want to sit on his throne. Good luck.
There you go. Thank you. Thank you.
And Gary Zeigen, 662, 149 miles an hour. And there was problems from the start to the end, unfortunately, for Zeigen. Nick Augustino, he had some issues over there, 484, 126, and that's a guy, and normally a number 1 qualifier right at the top half of the field. That's number 12 here, and 484 was his best effort that we just seen.
Yeah, if whoever ends up with him first round of eliminations tomorrow is not going to be real excited looking over and seeing him in the other lane. Drag 965 Pro Extreme Motorcycles, we need you. Motorcycles, we need you for your final round of qualifying, please. Drag 965 Pro Extreme Motorcycles, we need you. Mario Caringi, left side of the racetrack. The KW of Toronto, 68 Camaro. And Jerry Morgano, right-hand side, out of Apollo Beach, Florida, the Copperhead 02 Mustang. Tasoma powered, Bullseye Turbo, Mincer Motorsports hot rod. So right now, Ron Green leads qualifying with that 409.6 from earlier. Dan Norris laid down that stellar 412 with a 3 to get into the pro or up to the top of the list. Can Mario or Jared get it done right here?
Oh, how about Morgano? He's on a run. Scaringi's right alongside. 421. Jerry Morgano, best run of the weekend. 196 miles an hour for the Copperhead Mustang. He was striking. 431-2 there for Caringi. That's going to be number 8 in the category. Morgano number 6.
U.S. World Champion here on the right-hand side of the racetrack. That's Tim Essick out of Port Tobacco, Maryland. The Brown Sugar 2018 Mustang for Pro Charger and Essick Motorsports. And Joel Winsley Jr. trying to fire his machine back behind the water box on the left side of the racetrack. Yeah. So Winsley on the time clock. Sounds like that machine just fired up. Joe Winsley Sr. having trouble in Pro Boost. Now Winsley Jr. having some issues here in Pro Street. Tim Essick here on the right-hand side has been the epitome of consistency here in this category. Has won this event here in the past.
You've been using that word lately, I've noticed.
Do you like it?
Epitome. Yeah. Going to coast on down. 440 there for Joel Winsley. No improvement off the earlier 435 elapsed time for the Pro Charge Camaro. So Tim's going to be number 5. Joel's going to be number 11.
Ethan Stedding, Brian Weddle. Stedding here on the right side out of Carnegie, Pennsylvania. The 17-year-old behind the wheel, the 2024 Camaro for P2 Racing and Tie Drive. Your number 4 qualifier so far at a 4:16.6. And Brian Weddle on the left-hand side out of Frederick, Maryland. The 187 Graphic 68 Camaro for Extreme Racing Engines, Pro Torque, and 1320 Fab. PDRA Pro 632, we need you. PDRA Pro 632, we need you to staging for Q3, please.
All right, the P2 crew backs away from Ethan Stedding. Turns on his pre-stage bulb. Right-hand side. Great side-by-side drag race, and it's going to be 4:06. Look at Brian Weddle, the 187 Graphic Camaro at 176 miles an hour. 4:09 for Ethan. At 192, Weddle goes to the number 1 qualifying spot by 0.03 of a second. Stedding will take over number 3, and Ron Green is right in the middle of him at 4:09.6.
Chris Tootin and Chris Cadotto. Cadotto here on the right-hand side out of Westland, Michigan. The Weather Guard Windows 97 Ram pickup truck for Mark Herrick Engines. He's your number 5 qualifier to 4:12 with an 8. And Chris Tootin on the left-hand side, the Muffler Shop of Columbia, 87 Mustang. Torque Converter Services. On the side, Custom and Hart's Turbochargers on board his machine. He won a 4:32.0 that's landed him in the number 10th qualified position. keep your eyes on Tutterow in the pickup truck. If that thing hooks up and goes straight, he'll ride the wheelie bars out to the 330 mark.
How about Chris Tootin? 411. There's a low number for him. The South Carolina Mustang. After the Buffalo Shop of Columbia, 4.113, 191 miles an hour, and Tootin goes to number 4. Unfortunately for Chris Tutterow, see when the truck left, it kind of unloaded the chassis, and then it reapplied the power to the racetrack, and it started to shake. So he just takes his foot off the gas, coasts to the other end of the racetrack in a final qualifying effort for the big old Dodge Ram pickup truck.
Coming into this qualifying session, Ron Green had the number 1 spot. He's up next here on the right-hand side of the racetrack out of Chesterfield, Virginia, the Game Changer 2000 Firebird. For Green Brothers Racing, Quick Fuel, DeSoma, Pro Charger, and Atomizer. He went a 409 with the 6 earlier this afternoon. Needs to go better than a 406.1 to take back over that top spot. And on the left-hand side of the racetrack, your defending world champion, Bill Riddle. Out of Howell, Michigan, the Corrigan Race Fuels 89 Camaro for B&L Services. Mickey Thompson Tires, Motorsports Unlimited, SSI Superchargers, and Redline Oil.
So Ron Green, let's see if he can take back that number 1 spot that he has held with the Pontiac Firebird right side. Green has issues. All eyes are on Bill Riddle, and there's going to be Bill Riddle's best run of the weekend at 412. 187 miles an hour for the Corrigan Racing Fuel entry.
Now we go into Liberty's Gears Extreme Pro Stock presented by AED Competition. First car out, Elijah Morton here on the right-hand side of the racetrack out of Swansboro, North Carolina, the Double Trouble 2019 Mustang. For Horizons East, Carolina Utilities, Carolina Marine Works. Allen Competition Engines, 832 cubic inches underneath the hood scoop for that Larry Jeffers-built Mustang. And Elijah has struggled with this new car. He did lay down almost a record-setting performance once we got into eliminations at our last event.
Correct, at Virginia. And isn't that crazy to think from race to race how things can just switch. So you go from nearly going into the 3s, the fastest Extreme Pro Stock pass in history, and then you come in here to Norwalk a few weeks later, and the fastest you've been is 8:37 in the 8th mile, and you are the number 10 qualifier of 10 cars in the category. And it's just, the sport is brutal, and every little thing can affect a race car going down the racetrack in some way, shape, or form. So we'll find out here in just a few moments of Elijah Morton, one of the best drivers in the category, and Cash In Fishing Rods with their Ford. If they can make a run that make him a little more comfortable going into round number 1 tomorrow.
I can't tell you how many times in PDRA events past that he's been our number 1 qualifier. So finding himself back in the 10th spot right now, trying to better that.
Going to be his best row. Man, he makes a big move out there for Elijah. And he's taking him a lane and a half down there. 4:18, 175 miles an hour for Elijah Morton, and that is going to be good enough for number 4 currently in Extreme Pro Stock.
Reese and Doug Tutterow. Tutterow has had a time of it today in the burnout box. Derek Reese here on the right-hand side.
Talking to Scott Wildgus again, rested, I'm sure, because what a run that was. You went from out of the field in the banner car with a hell of a run right there, 67.
Yeah, it was a good one. Yeah, especially being the title sponsor of this race, we wanted to have a good one for the Smokies Garage team, and everyone worked hard and just did our thing, and we're here for race day.
I know that you guys do this for a living. This is your life. You bleed it. Your heartbeat is this. But is there any kind of pressure difference when you are running the banner car and you're sitting outside like that going into Q3?
Yeah, funny you say that. I don't usually get nervous, but yeah, when I looked up at the bump there for before we ran, I actually got a little bit nervous. But Brandon Snyder and my boys, they work hard, and here we go.
Nothing like a good old dramatic for race day. Good luck, Scott.
And a good nap.
Line. So boarded the burnout rather early. And Derek Reese over here, another driver and team that has had problems throughout the weekend. Kittrell rolls in deep. Let's watch what happens with the Cobalt. But the car's going straight. Oh, top of the racetrack, 417 there for Derek Reese. That's a big time run, 175 miles an hour, 422, 171 for Doug Kittrell down the summit side. And Derek Reese goes to number 3.
Dylan Ross, Dwayne Rice up next. Rice here on the right-hand side out of Rose City, Ohio. The Excalibur Race Engines 2022 Camaro for DR Excavating and CP Pistons. And Dylan Ross on the left-hand side of the racetrack out of West Palm Beach, Florida. The Bad Banana 05 Cavalier for Voss Racing Engines, Liqui Moly, and Voss Wheelie Bars. Voss has had a very consistent machine there left side of the racetrack, a 419.3 and a 419.1. So right now, to go number 1, 414 with an 8, and that's Darrell Stewart. He is yet to run yet in this session. But Dylan Voss left side, Dwayne Rice on the right.
So Dylan Voss, the yellow Cavalier, final one of the beams, left side, lights are down, here we go! Summit side scoreboard lights up for Voss, 4.112, 174 miles an hour, 417, 173 there for Dwayne Rice, and Dylan Voss is your new number 1 qualifier. What a run out of Dylan Voss by 0.03 of a second. He bumps Darrell Stewart to 2. Matt Giagrande, Derek Reese, and Chris Powers coming up next. Are all down 1 spot here in qualifying.
Yeah, Chris Powers will be in the Sonny's Racing Engines 2021 Camaro out of Carlisle, Pennsylvania for CR Powers HVAC and ATI Performance Products. Johnny Placino on the right-hand side out of Smithtown, New York. Featherlight Batteries, Kelling Equipment, Ram Clutches, Maxima Racing Oils.
All right, so Ford and Chevy. The Camaro and Mustang matchup you see on the starting line, a pair of world champions. Johnny the Kid currently sets number 10. Oh, 74 and Placino 410, 176 miles an hour. Good run for Johnny. Chris is going to go 412, 174, and Johnny Placino is your new #1 qualifier here at Extreme Pro Stock by 0.08 of a second.
Jordan Insulin and Matt Giagrande up next. Insulin here on the right-hand side out of Lakeland, Florida. The Seabiscuit 08 Mustang. Dark Horse Coffee Company, Golden Gate Hotel and Casino, Circa Las Vegas, AED Competition, and Mincer Motorsports on board the Ford Mustang here on the right side. Giagrande, left side of the racetrack out of Pleasant Garden, North Carolina. The Enoch Love-owned 2019 Camaro for Ram Clutches, AED Carburetors, Linco, Stroud Safety, and Maxima Oil. AFCO Racing Super Street, presented by Mincer Motorsports. AFCO Racing is Super Street, presented by Mincer Motorsports. We need you to the staging lanes for your final round of qualifying, please.
We've seen nearly every driver improve here in Extreme Pro Stock tonight. They have shuffled around for position, and we've seen a couple #1 qualifiers like Johnny, Dylan, Chris Powers was at the top there, Darrell Stewart. They've all got bumped around a bit. So Matt Giagrande, Jordan Insulin going to be side by side as they roll them into the beams. The Dark Horse Coffee back to Mustang here on the right-hand side. Good numbers down low for Matt Giagrande. How about 412, 174 miles an hour there on the Summit side. 414, 174 as well for Jordan Insulin. And that run is going to put Matt Giagrande #3, Jordan Insulin to #5. And here comes one more car in the category.
And that's Darrell Stewart out of Jupiter, Florida, the Chassis Engineering 2012 Camaro for Hyperactive Performance Solutions. Came into the session #1. Now finds himself all the way back in the 6th spot with that 414.8. Clayton Murphy on the radio behind Daryl Stewart's machine, backing him up into the tracks. Daryl trying to go back to that #1 qualifier position.
Stewart, the chassis engineering entry. How about 413? 174 miles an hour. They pick up 100th from their previous best run. And that will end out final qualifying in Liberty Gears Extreme Pro Stock. We're going to move into Drag 965 Pro Extreme Motorcycle next. This is a good class, I got to say, coming into Ohio this weekend. 11 riders in the category, and good turnout.
Sometimes to get these guys and gals to do interviews at the Jerry Buckle Top End Zone, you got to get them off the phone from signing checks and doing deals. Literally, just climb out of your race car and go back to business mode. But I want to talk about that run right there. You were in the show, it was consistent, but you guys have to be pleased with the 65.
Yeah, we definitely pleased. You know, we come in and run decent, you know, testing, and then kind of shook the tires, and I think went a 70 flat the other round. But man, I ain't gonna lie, I've been working. Man, I got something going on with my business. It's just been a nightmare, but we got through it. We going on now. Now it's time to go racing tomorrow, win the show.
Listen, I hate to bring this back up, but didn't make the field last time. You said last time we spoke you were going to confidently come in top half of the field. I know that bugs you. I know that you got a chip on your shoulder, and you wanted to be sure to prove that.
Yeah, you know, it's just tough, man. You know, this PDRA shit, it ain't no joke, man. It's a war every round, you know. Usually when you race, you're like, well, I'm number 1 or 2. I got not a dub, but, you know, not somebody good, but not in this. You better be on your game. Everything better be perfect. You better have some luck.
All right, well, get back on the phone, make some money so you can make this race car go. Marcus Burt here.
140.
Sometimes to get these guys and gals.
Track, the Innovative Performance Suzuki. Even though they make their best run of the weekend, it was nowhere near their performance potential. Tutterow will be number 10.
Jerry Hunt up next, left side of the racetrack, the Diablo 2022 Suzuki.
Jerry Hunt is going to roll out of the throttle 522, 102 miles an hour.
Ashley Owens next up, left side of the racetrack out of Decatur, Alabama. The McKinney Motorsports 2010 Suzuki for Vance and Hines, and Fast by Gas has been a 409.7 that has landed him in the number 6 qualifying position.
Ashley Owens 055 and 403. That's going to be Ashley Owens' best run out of qualifying today. 403.2, 173.14 the numbers, and Ashley is going to go to the number 3 spot right now. You want to give a little shout out to the Lower Level Lounge, open for business, and one of our continued supporting sponsors. Let me in, Tommy.
Chris Garner-Jones and Eric McKinney up next. McKinney on the right-hand side of the racetrack out of Hammersville, Ohio. The Junkyard Kid, 2014 Suzuki for McKinney Motorsports. Owens Performance, Fast by Gas, Vance and Hines, and Worldwide Bearings. He's been a 413 with a 7. And Chris Garner-Jones on the left-hand side of the racetrack out of Harvest, Alabama. The Bad Cat 2 2018 Suzuki for Redline Motorsports Media and TT Jones Racing and Performance. Chris is your number 4 qualifier to 404 with a 9.
Two great riders side by side. They turn them loose. Let's look at the early numbers. Chris Garner-Jones pulls ahead. There it is, 399.1, 178 miles an hour. And Chris Garner-Jones is your new number 1 qualifier here in Pro Extreme Motorcycle. McKinney run 408, 174. That's going to be good enough for number 7. But Chris Garner-Jones bumps Paul Gass down to number 2. We're going to find out how fast. Fast by Gas going to go here tonight.
Brunson Grothus on the left-hand side. Out of Davenport, Iowa. The Grothus Drag Bikes 2019 Suzuki for Indocile Art. Excel Glass Systems, DTM, and KPM. Your number 3 qualifier at a 4:02.5. And Jeff House here on the right-hand side. The Blue Honcho 2020 Suzuki for Fast by Gas, Classic Chevrolet, and Brink Racecraft. Brunson goes a 399 with a 6 at 186 miles per hour. Jeff House, 411. So by 5,000, Brunson misses the number 1 spot. Braden Davis next up here on the right-hand side of the racetrack. The 18-year-old out of Douglas, Georgia for Davis Transport, Timblin Chassis, Perry's Performance, McCarty Auto Parts. He's number 5 at a 4:05 with a 2. And Paul Gass, left side of the racetrack, now sits back in the number 3 qualified position. He went a 4:02.4 on that Fast by Gas Suzuki.
How about Paul Gass, 101 down low. Braden's going to be right alongside of him. 398, Braden Davis, 177 miles an hour. 401 with a 4, 176 the speed for Paul Gass. And Braden Davis is going to start race day tomorrow from the number 1 qualifying spot in Pro Extreme Motorcycle. Good run for the kid down the right-hand side.
Going to make the jump over to PDRA Pro 632 and Patrick Patterson first up here on the right-hand side. The Public Enemy 69 Camaro out of Insulin Racing.
Problems, and looks like to be more problems, unfortunately, for Patrick Patterson. As this little backfire. Some nitrous issues for the Insulin Racing Camaro of Patrick Patterson. And he'll come coasting to a stop out there right around the 8th mile mark.
And watching that pretty much reminds you of your racing days, doesn't it, Derek? Racetrack cleared off. J.C. Beatty Jr. out of Baltimore, Maryland, left side of the racetrack, the ATI Performance Product 69 Camaro. And Gary Hood here on the right-hand side. Out of Severn, Maryland, the Hood Racing 63 split window Corvette.
JC Beatty 063, 446 there at the left side. Beatty's going to pick up 4 Hutton, 454 Gary Hood. No improvement for the chassis builder out of Maryland with that 63 split window Corvette.
Bobby Bladen, the Chevy 2 on the left-hand side of the racetrack out of Gambrills, Maryland for MB Paving, Custom Performance Coating, East Coast Collision, MSR Suspension, and Billy Albert Race Engines. And Jason Ventura here on the right-hand side out of Pompano Beach, Florida, the Gladiator X70 Camaro for AMSOIL, Brand X High Performance, and Kent Waters Originals.
Bobby Bladen, Jason Ventura, 7 and 8 in the qualified order. Here right now. Bobby does a little driving down low, and then Nova's going to go 432, 170 miles an hour. Picks up just 7 thousandths of a second. Jason Ventura is going to see a 4,000th improvement, so pretty much going to stay the same, number 6 and 8 here in qualified.
We've got Melanie Salemi down here. Jerry Bickle top end zone. You come out smiling. I know that's a good thing, but you just said we made some wholesale changes. What did you do to make that run?
Yeah, I mean, they were working on the back end of the car for the last like 2 hours. So, and then right before we went up, I said to Jim, "Hey Jim, what are we doing here?" And he's like, "We're making weight movements, big weight movements. It's what we have to do to get this car to go down the racetrack." And I can tell you that that run was the way that this car should run. Had the wheels up, shifting gears, and when I saw the 66 come up, I had a little party in the car.
Listen, that's a dangerous thing. A happy, confident Melanie Salemi. Purple rain.
Purple rain.
Good luck.
Thank you.
So Lexi Tanner, Doug Nickel now. Over here on the Summit side, Lexi Tanner, 21-year-old behind the wheel of the Manhattan Collision and Tauber Manufacturing entries, been 432. Nickel's been 429, and the Ground Control Property Service Camaro out of Michigan. Stayed up north. Lexi Tanner. How about 426? There's a big time improvement. 427 for Doug Nickel here on the right side. So Lexi Tanner goes to number 4.
Jamie Thompson. On the right-hand side, out of Pittsboro, North Carolina, the Rodzilla Camaro. Your number 6 qualifier to 428.7. And Amber Franklin, left side, number 2 qualifier to 423.1 in the OG Jungle Rat Camaro for Franklin Electric and Redline Oil.
Wow, 984 down low for Amber. 420. 168 the speed. Amber Franklin picks up 3 hun to the 426, 166 charge out of Jamie Thompson. And the young lady, Amber Franklin, back to the number 1 qualifying spot in Pro 632. See how long it can hold. 2 more coming into the water box. Water landing it. Indy House up next.
Walt Lanigan, left side of the racetrack out of Savannah, Georgia, the CNC Pumping Service 2010 GTO. And Andy House here on the right-hand side out of Dunn, North Carolina, the old red 69 Camaro owned by Meade Baldwin, Southern Diamond Company, SP Tools, and Hoosier Tire on board his machine.
Walt Lanigan, how about 418? Look at that, Walter Lanigan. CNC Pumping Services, Pontiac GTO, 422, 167 for Andy House. Lanigan.
Bad man, ain't he?
Man, oh man, what a run. Jamie Miller tuning Lanigan, and they are your number 1 qualifier starting tomorrow here at the American Doorslammer Challenge in Pro 632.
The man who needs no introduction, the World Series of Pro Mod champion. I told you I'm going to say it every time. You even got it on your shirt there. Roller coaster over weekend for you, but right there, Q3, put you in the number 2 spot.
Yeah, it was a good run. we're hoping to move up some because I kept seeing the number go down on the scoreboard. So I think we're in there good to go and see what we got to run tomorrow.
Explain to the FloRacing viewers a little bit about the difference. We've been complaining all day, hot, sticky racetrack. I know all of you guys were just gnawing at the bit. I said that earlier to somebody else, but the difference that it takes and what changed with the weather to make this field just go crazy.
Oh, it's a big difference. This is a racetrack because once the sun's on, it gets hot and greasy, but when that sun goes down, it's a whole lot tighter, so you can put more power to it and go faster.
I know it was exciting for you to watch that bump go down, but you had to be just a little bit nervous. Is big boy going to make it down?
Oh, yeah, I was. That's for sure.
He's confident, ready for race day. Derek Ward.
Brad Cox, left side of the racetrack out of Davenport, Florida, the Mickey Thompson Mustang.
Brad Cox, 472 there. Wow, what a huge run. 155 miles an hour for the Mustang out of Davenport, Florida. Your new #1 qualifier. Bump Stan Wetstein down, followed by Blake Ditton, Derek Mota, Gage Lamas. Yeah, from the outhouse to the penthouse. Big time run, Brad Cox here on the left side.
Fran Schatz and Matt Shallow up next. Shallow out of Virginia Beach, the Snowman 2000 Camaro for ATI. 1320 Fab, bootleg tunes, AD carburetors. Your number 12 qualifier to 514.6, and Fran Schatz left side out of Glen Mills, Pennsylvania. The race-proven Motorsports 07 Corvette for Frankenstein Engine Dynamics, Pro Charger, the Red Hat Mafia, and RPM Transmissions. Shallow all over the place in the Camaro here on the right side. 5087 for Fran Schatz. Phil Hines, left side of the racetrack at 11 on Ohio. The pro-charged 01 Mustang for Mickey Thompson, BES Race Engines, and Rossler Transmissions. And Derek Sleetold here on the right-hand side at Youngstown, Ohio. Your number 9 qualifier to 494 with a 3.
Pedal fest out there. Phil Hines slows up. Derek Sleetold's going to go 5:08, 150 the speed. No improvement off his earlier 494 elapsed time. 5:37 there for Phil Hines. Number 9 and 10 are in Q3. Brian Hunt and Dave Knight going to be your next pair up here in Super Street.
David Knight in the Nova here on the right-hand side. Out of Kannapolis, North Carolina, the Knight Performance. Knight Supercars, Harrell Engine and Dyno Rossler Transmachine is number 8 right now with a 490 with a 5. And Brian Hunt, left side. The 90 Mustang out of Remington, Virginia, your number 10 qualifier to 494.
Hunt's car goes towards the wall. He pedals it, and it makes a hard move. Dave Knight's going to go 478. Look at that, 158 the speed for the fabricator at Kannapolis, North Carolina. And that 478 elapsed time for Knight's going to be good enough for number 3 in the category. Hunt's not going to improve. He'll be number 10, still off the earlier 494.
Tommy Thrasher, the Mustang out of Massachusetts, here on the right-hand side for Hart's Turbo and DeSoma Race Engines. With a 488.7 earlier. And Gage Lamas, left-hand side. The CPR Competition 02 Trans Am for Bullseye Boring. Turbo Smart TKM Performance and Hambone Fabrication. The Gage, number 6 qualifier to 487 with a 2.
All right, so Gage Lama's going to come up and turn us pre-stage bulb on. The 20-year-old electrician, Waukegan, Illinois, here on the left side. Tommy Thrasher moving in the Ohio Cat lane with that 93 model Mustang. Good clean runs out of both cars. Finish line stripe they go. How about 471.5? Gage Lamas at 163. 481, 158 the speed of Thrasher. And say hello to your new number one qualifier. Gage Lamas goes to the top of the category. Brad Cox, 472.5 is now number 2. Huge run of the young kid. Gage Lamas right there with the Pontiac.
Pair of Mustangs up next. Derek Mota on the left-hand side of the racetrack out of Peabody, Massachusetts. The Kool-Aid Express 93 Mustang for Hart's Turbochargers, DeSoma Race Engines, Tough and Fluff Dog Care, and East Point Recovery. Jamie Miller doing the tuning on that machine. It's been a 483 with a 6. Connor McGee on the right-hand side of the racetrack. The Bryant's Heating and Cooling 1990 Mustang for Driven Racing Oil. He's your number 8 qualifier to 488 with a 3.
All right, final qualifying effort. Derek Mota, Connor McGee. Battle between the Mustangs on the starting line. McGee's car out in front. Now here comes Mota charging hard at the other end. 478 with a 4, 159. 478 as well for Connor McGee. 145 the speeds to Derek Mota. Summit side to number 4 here in qualifying. McGee to number 6. The drivers making their best runs in the final session under the lights tonight here at Summit Motorsports Park.
So final pair of the evening, Dan Wettstein and Blake Denton. Wettstein bumped down to the number 3 spot from his earlier 473 charge out of La Plata, Maryland in the 1990 Ford Mustang out of the Essex Motorsports Camp. And Blake Denton here on the right-hand side, your number 7 qualifier, a 480 with a 3 on his best attempt so far for Franklin Electric. Redline Oil, Hoosier Tire. Jeff Pierce tuning the machine here on the right-hand side.
Wettstein and Denton lay one down here. You got to run quicker than 71.5 to be your number 1 qualifier. Oh, Blake Denton's on a run. Finish line 472.8, 155 the speed there for Blake Denton. He took a swing at it. The electrician out of Fredericksburg, Virginia, comes up a little short. Wettstein's going to go 481 at 154. And qualifying in Super Street is set. Gage Lamas is 1, Brad Cox is 2, Blake Denton's 3, Dan Wettstein's 4, Derek Mota's 5, David Knight 6, Connor McGee 7, and Tommy Thrasher rounds out your top 8 in the category at 481.5.
And that's going to put a bow on Friday Night Fire here at the Smokies Garage American Doorslammer Challenge presented by Callie's here at America's Racetrack Summit Motorsports Park. 337 entries took time today. We thank all you crew members and drivers for all that you do to keep your machines together and not leaking out on our racing surface. Your help is greatly appreciated by the staff here at the PDRA and Summit Motorsports Park. Thank you, race fans, for coming out and spending your day with us here and watching all of our professional classes and sportsman classes qualify. And we look forward to seeing you here again tomorrow The Summit gate will close 15 minutes from now. So at roughly 9:30. So if you're parked over on that side, you're going to want to make your way towards that area. But once again, we thank you all for coming out and spending your day with us here at Summit Motorsports Park. All the racers and crew members, we appreciate everything that you do to help us keep our show running promptly. Thank you again, and we look forward to seeing you again here at Summit Motorsports Park tomorrow.